Howdy! Welcome back to another episode of Creating Hanley. I am the Hanley at Creating Hanley, and today we are doing another Crumb quilt block. So we are doing USA Stars and Stripes Red, White, and Blue Crumbs. Crumb edition. So I have these strips of fabric that I actually trimmed off. I kind of like my fabric like even. And so if it's like, not even, if I cut a swirly in it or something, then I try to make it, nice, clean edge. So because of that, I have some leftover pieces. Some really thin. This is a, not so straight. So whatever. I have these pieces. There happen to be strips. They're not exactly crumbs. Yeah, they're crumbs. I mean, this is kind of big enough to be a scrap, but this is probably big enough to be a scrap, but it's still smaller than 2 inches. Oh, actually, this is 2 inches. This is 2-inch wide, so I can make a 2-inch block out of that. So that wouldn't be considered a crumb. Definitely a scrap. But anyway, most of these are crumbs, crummy. They're kind of crummy. They're better than the crumbs that I normally have. This is a scrap. I would consider these scraps. Normally, you guys know what my crumbs look like, right? Let me grab my crumb box here. My crumb box. I have it labeled right there. My crumb box is fabric that you just toss in the trash. Like it's super teeny tiny, like these little pieces. Yeah, these are what I consider crumbs. So, super thin. Might be really long, but super thin. Even the salvages, even the cut off salvages, I throw in here too. So, yeah, those are my crumbs. Those are definite crumbs, and we will be creating more crumb blocks with these. However, today we're just going to use these strips, and I keep everything. If you've seen my other videos, you probably have seen my wall of fabric that I keep in plastic boxes. And, yeah, so let's get to it. So today we are using dryer sheets for the foundation. So here's a typical dryer sheet, just a typical dryer sheet. It's pretty much almost all gone. I usually use my dryer sheets twice in the dryer, and I pretty much only started using these again because of this project. I just use these as foundation. So I grab my trusty fabric scissors and I just line it up, line up the corners, line up the edge, and then I just slide right in between that little gap there. Just kind of pull your fabric tight, pull your dryer sheet tight, and then trim. Pull it tight and cut. And there you go. You have equal sides. So there's my dryer sheet. And now I'm going to take you down to the surface. So what you see here is just the pieces that have been left over from the star block we just did. We just did a June of the month star block. So we did our crazy star block for June. So my theme was red, white, and blue. So we're just going to make another scrappy block in the same vein of this. So continuing that series, because I haven't done this one in a while, so we're going to continue on in this series. So I'm going to make, so you can see the, the dryer sheet foundation on the back here. And so we're just going to continue this. So I'm just going to do diagonals. You don't have to do diagonals. That's not necessary. It does help with the structure of the block, though, rather than having it, vertical or horizontal. So just having it at a zigzag, or not even a zigzag, just a diagonal, kind of helps with the structure of the block. I'm assuming, at least that's what I think. when you do any kind of wood construction, which I do, wood construction, I'm not a carpenter, but I refinish furniture, which will be some more video projects in the future, hopefully in the near future. So you'll see my beginner woodworking skills there, but so that's what I assume the diagonal is, to add structure. So anyway, regardless, I could be dead wrong on that. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm gonna get told if I'm wrong. But yeah, I would like to know for sure. Like, is that why in the quilting world we do it diagonal to add structure to the block? I'm kind of curious on that. So we can go in the opposite directions too. So one goes one way and one goes the other way. No, those are the same ways. No, those are different ways. Yeah, they're opposites. So there you go. So that's what we're going to do today. Cut this in half. So hopefully I have enough material. I think I do, to create 2 chevrons, to make like a chevron, right? So I have blue thread in here in my machine, and my brother, and I have actually white thread in the bobbin. So anyway, enough talking. My goodness, let's just get to it. So the first thing you want to do is probably find your longest pieces. So you can separate these out into length. So, you want to find your longest pieces, and of course, put your right sides up so you know what the fabric looks like. And if it's a little bit wonky or, folded over, whatever, just take it over to your pressing mat, your pressing board, your ironing board, and just kind of open it up, flatten it out so you see what you're working with. This is less than an inch. This is probably 3/4 of an inch or less, maybe. So this is going to be super narrow in a block. So that's like one of the longer strips. That's a long strip. This white one, definitely a long strip. Now this white one has a front and a back. So if you're working with something very light, and maybe it's like a color on color, so this is a white on white. I don't know if you can see those stars. Can you see the stars in there? That's the back of it. That's the front. Maybe you can't. But if you're working with like a black on black, or color on a color, red on red, it might be difficult to see. So just really check to make sure which side is up, or whatever side you like better, whatever side you want to show. So I'm just gonna make sure that this white on white is in the position that I want to show on my project, and then. Yeah, just like the shorter pieces, put off to one side. You know how that goes. I got triangles over here, so whatever works for you. I got a bunch of those little ones. Okay. Yeah. So now this is all going to be in my way, and I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it out of the way, which means it'll be off camera. So looks like I have 3 of these triangles. Now these are all in the same fabric vein. They're all red, white, and blue. They're all American flag, United States flag theme. So there's that. All right. And then this is like a blue jean type of fabric. It's not blue jean. It's not jeans fabric. It's not denim fabric. It's cotton. It's quilter's cotton, but it looks like that faded out blue jean, which is Americana for sure. Levi's, right? All right, guys. Dungarees. Let's figure out what we want across the center. Maybe this little narrow piece, and then we can add strips to that. Or maybe this even narrower piece. Let's try that. Even this little narrower. So we're going to do that. So I'm taking it from corner to corner. From this corner to the bottom corner. Top to bottom. Just add a diagonal. And so my next piece, on the next one, I would want the diagonal to go opposite. Okay? So just like that. Now some people say, whoa, you just do it all the same way and you flip it over. But that's not the case. It's still going to be in the same same. So see, if I have this and then I just flip it over, it's still going to be the exact same way, okay? So you do actually have to put it in the opposite direction. So because if I flip this over, it's the same. It's flipped over, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Because, yeah, that would be really convenient if you screwed up and you did them all the same. Not that it's screwing up. You can make your blocks all the same direction. That is totally fine. You can do that, till the cows come home. They'll just all be in the same direction when you put together whatever project you're going to put together. And that can be very uniform. And you just create, one strip all the way, like one continuous. They're going to be all in 4 by 6 inch blocks, because that's what these are. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like all the strips are going to go in the same way. All your blocks are going to go in the same way, depending on how you put them together. It doesn't matter. You can it's creative, it's fun, and it's entertaining. So have at it. Do whatever you want. It's your creativity. It's your expression. So let's get down to here. All right. So back down to this surface. So I have blue thread in. You can do whatever. I'm just using these colors. I'm using red, white, and blue. I'm using Americana flag theme. So that's what I'm doing. And I have, blue thread in and white in the bobbin. No big deal. You do it how you want. But anyway, the first strip you're going to lay down in the center from corner to corner. And then the next strip, you want to find one that's long enough where it overhangs. So see how I have this part overhanging the corner here, and I have this part overhanging the corner here. That does two things. One, it ensures that when you trim, you're going to definitely get a 4 by 6. And it doesn't have to be this rectangle 4 by 6. You can do it 4 by 4. You can actually cut a big fabric sheet, like a big dryer sheet, into 6 by 6 or 4 by 4s, or however you want to do it. I just cut it in half, and so it makes it not a square. It makes it a rectangle, which means you might have to do a little extra math if you want to fit it into a pattern project, for example. But again, it's creative, it's fun, it's, like if you want to put in a tote bag and it calls for 15 inches and you put 2 of these together and it's only 12 or 11 and a half or something, then you got to add another one, and it actually may work out. It actually may work out that way. So anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah, it's not square. Anyway, let's go. Okay, so then you find another one. So this is right side up, pretty side up, and then you find the next one that covers. Oh, I know where I was going with that. There was two things. One, it covers the edges so that you definitely get, when you trim, you get it correct, a 4 by 6. Because sometimes this dryer sheet is wonky and it's not exactly. And when you add stitches to it, sometimes it can shrink up. So you definitely want to overhang the edges. And the second thing is because if you are short, so if, for example, say like I wanted this piece next, and I'll show you back down here. If I wanted this piece next to this one because I think it looks pretty or something, then I place this right here. When I sew it on, you can tell that it's not going to overhang and it's going to be short, which means in your project you're going to see the foundation underneath. And that might be tacky. Just depending on whatever it is you're going for. No matter what project it is, it'll probably be like, oh, you forgot something there. Like, it's just going to look unfinished. And also, these edges are raw, so unless you applique it on or finish it somehow, they're just going to be raw edges. So if in fact this goes through the wash at any point, these may fray, these edges. So those are a couple of reasons why we take it all the way off the edge of the foundation. Okay. And this is not meant to be washed, right? So these are dryer sheets. They're meant to go in the dryer, maybe like a couple times, and then tossed in the trash. They're not meant to be reused for anything else. However, they are pretty sturdy, and even if you give them a few tugs, I mean, I don't know if you can hear that. They're pretty strong. You know, if I really wanted to, I can rip this, but it's pretty strong. However, after several washings, this stuff might disintegrate. So if this is behind, you know, all the fabric, you really need to quilt that on pretty well. Although I'm sure at some point it will still disintegrate and kind of maybe like ball up underneath, you know, like kind of like fuzz up underneath, or like come up away from the stitching. And so you're going to have like little chunks or, you know, something underneath your project. So just keep, you know, maybe keep that in mind depending on what kind of project you want to make. This is a really long, drawn-out convo. Let's get back to it. All right, so here we go. So I'm just going to place this one next because I know it's long enough. It'll go off the top. So if I want it on this side of this line, I'm going to place this here, face side up, right? Now I'm going to place this on the same line, face side down. And then I will take this to the machine and I'm just going to sew maybe 1/4 inch, because normally you would do a 1/2 inch, but because this is so narrow, I'm going to do, I'm sorry, not 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch. Because this is so narrow, I'm not going to do a 1/2 inch for sure. I'm not even going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'll probably just do 1/8 of an inch, just enough to catch the edge of the fabric here so that this stays down on the foundation, but yet I still maintain the integrity of some of this fabric in the center because it is so narrow. If I do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm going to lose pretty much all of it, which is okay. You could do that. It'll just be a super narrow strip. So let me make sure that this lines up, these edges line up. And even though this is on a diagonal, I'm running my fabric straight through the machine, just like that. All right, so line this up. And you know what? I don't even need blue thread in here because it's going to be on the backing anyway. So it's probably a waste of my blue thread. Actually, I think it's a waste of my blue thread. I don't have that many spools of blue thread, so I have more white blue thread. What did I say? I have more white blue thread? I swear I'm not drinking, guys. Okay, so you can finger press that open, or if you have your iron handy, you can just kind of press it down real quick and then see what's next. What else can I throw in here? I could throw this in here. All right, let's do that. Now that I just realized that I might be wasting my my blue thread, I kind of feel compelled to change that out. You guys can barely even see that. What am I doing? I haven't done this in a while. Okay, so open that up. Now you can see that covers a lot of space. That covered a lot of area. So, I could, if I wanted to, add my blue jeans here, add my denim. And is that going to cover the corner? So you want to make sure you get a piece big enough that covers the corner. When you trim, it will definitely cover this corner. So I think this will do it. I could do this piece. This blue one will do. This blue one will be perfect. So let's do that. Alright, now when I open that up, definitely it covers. And you can see on the back, that definitely covers. So, one place where I could use that blue thread will come in handy is just a stitch across here, just to hold that in place. So, let me try to figure out where that might be. Let's see if I can use a pin. Where would that be? Okay, that's going to be right there. Alright, so let's just kind of fake it. There we go. There. Yep. Alright, you can see on the back, maybe you can see on the back that white stitching right there. And that blue stitching on the top. So that blue came in handy. There you go. And that just holds that in place. And I stitched well off of the back so that when I trim that, all the stitching will still be there. Okay, so now I can work on the top part here. And let's see, I haven't used this one, and this does span, kind of just barely, but it does. So, oh, there's a kitty. Kitty wants to say hello. Hi, kitty. All right, let's throw that there. I think Sabrina's telling me it's time to go to bed, Mom. She's pretty good about telling me that. Okay, so make sure I caught the bottom there. I did. Alright, so that when I open this up, that... Now see what I mean by that middle part being... Here, let me iron this out first so it's flat for you. So, see how that middle part is super small, very narrow? Had I used a 1/4 inch on both sides, you wouldn't even see this part. That would be gone. Alright, what else do I have? I have this piece. Or is this one big enough? No. Okay, so see, like here's a triangle. If I kind of guess like where that might be, you can tell. Right here, it's not covered, the foundation shows, and the foundation shows over there. So if I wanted to add this to the corner, I can, but I need to add another strip in here, which I could probably do with this one. Again, this is super narrow, and that hangs over, so let's give this a shot. And again, about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on this one, just because it's super narrow. And I'm using a 3mm stitch length. Whoops. For all who are interested, a 3mm stitch length. You could even go a little bit smaller, especially if your fabric is kind of frayed. Mine is not frayed because it's freshly trimmed, it's freshly cut, so I don't have any frayed edges. But if yours is a little bit frayed, then see, this might, yeah, when I trim that, that might not even, that might be a problem right there. It's not long enough. Yeah, okay. I think this one might not be long enough. Anyway, I'm just going to still use it. And so this, see that it's at a curve. I'm just going to straighten it up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to use a rotary cutter and my thing, which you can't even see, but trim it up. Oh, that didn't even work. I need a new blade in my trimmer, in my rotary cutter. Alright, so I'm just going to... So it's still curved a little bit here. I'm just going to imagine that's where the straight line would be. And if I fold that back, just imagine it's sewn, I can see I still need some edging there. So this piece may not work unless I move this, shift it a little bit. So if I shift it over this way, and I imagine that's sewn down, that's still not working. So this piece is not going to work here right at the moment. So I'm going to throw this white one in because this white one will, and I haven't used this one yet. So let's just measure this out a little bit, and I'm just going to trim that off right here using these little scissors. And then you do not need to iron. I just like to iron because I like to work with flat fabric. Fabric that's all bunched up for me is just annoying. Alright, there's that. And then I open this up. Finger press out. Again, finger pressing usually works for most people. I like that hot iron. It's just a dry iron too. Alright, what else could I add besides this one? I could add, like, maybe that. Well, let's add this. Let's add this flatness right here. Okay, we're gonna add that flatness. Alright. This should cover the corner. And it does. Okay. Great. Good. So, let me move that off to the side. So this is what it looks like now, this jumbled mess. Now if you look on the back, you can tell where the dryer sheet is, and then that's where you want to trim. So you take your trim ruler and you line it up just on the edge of the dryer sheet, and it's about still 6 inches. It held its integrity pretty well, and about 4 inches right there. So I'm gonna take it over to the trimming mat. I'm just gonna shift this way for you. Hopefully you can see that. And then I just take, you know, the edge there and my rotary cutter with the blade that's a little bit dull and find the edge. You guys know how to use this, so it's the same as in all your other projects. You just trim, trim. And then if you have your rotating mat, use your rotating mat. And then count your 4 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Line up the cut edge with that line, and then line up the outer edge with that cut line. And then I need to retrim this a little bit better. There we go. Trim. Oh, there's the cat getting into stuff. Guys, I gotta show you. See that moving? Look! Ah! Sabrina! Ah, there you are! That's the first time I've seen that. She's really trying to get my attention. She's like, Mom, it's time for bed. Because it is, what, 1 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, but I have a crumb block addiction. So my crumb block addiction follows me to the wee hours. All right, let's take this camera over here, right here, so you can see sort of what I'm doing. All right, and then so I got 1, 2, 3, 4 inches, and then this is 6. This is a 6-inch ruler, so I'm going to trim this last edge right here, just like that. And there we go. That's our crumb block. Yay! Doesn't matter which way it goes. There you go. Yep. Look at that little sliver of blue right there. That's in the pattern of this fabric, but that looks kind of neat. All right. So now, the next one will be in the opposite direction. So let me take you back down here. And so this way, if I wanted to, I could have them all going in the same direction, like so. Or I can have it going the opposite direction, like that, which is what I'm going to do. So because I use this in here, I don't really want it in the same place. You can, but I don't really want these identical. So I'm going to shift that over a little bit. And I don't know if I have any extra long pieces. So I might have to keep this in the center because I don't have any extra long pieces. Here's this white one. I'll do this one. Okay, this one can go in the center. And now, because this is super long, I will trim this. There we go. Whoops. Like so. Now, let's see where this goes. This can go right here. Like that, which is different from here, so that's good. And then, I mean, it can be identical. There's nothing wrong with that. It can be the same. I just want it a little bit different. So there's that. And then this can go over here. And then that could go, this could go anywhere actually. And then I thought I had a triangle one. I do. Here's a triangle one. Maybe that could fit there. Alright, so let's take this over to the machine. And we will again start this the very same way. I'm just going to start one in the center so I kind of know my layout. I'm just going to set these aside, So now here's the one down in the center. So now I'm going to sew on this side. So I'm going to flip this around so that I know exactly what end to feed into the needle to the sewing machine. So I should change out my thread because I find, I don't know, it's bothering me that I have blue in there now. I'm just going to throw in my white thread real quick. Not that you need to see this. Alright, here we go. Now my automatic threader is broken. So I'm just going to thread it by hand, which shouldn't take too long. There we go. Okay, now what I like to do is always test the fabric for the thread. And there you go. That's my leader and my tester. Okay, so now that you know everything is set for the machine, I am lining this up again just to make sure everything is right. And then send it through. Yeah, I feel better now that I put the white in. For two reasons. One, because I have a lot more white thread than I do blue, and I'd rather save that blue thread for, you know, a project that calls for blue thread. This doesn't necessarily call for blue thread. It doesn't need blue thread. And the other thing is, you might see that through the white especially. You might see that blue thread through the white fabric. And so, even though it's scrappy and, you know, supposed to be fun, yeah, I can use that for the top. Not for, maybe I feel like I want to use that for a top thread, something I can see, not hidden in the back. So, there's that. Okay, so now let's throw this on, and if I pretend that this is sewn, is this going to cover? Yes. So I'm just going to put it like that way instead. Okay. So you can use whatever fabric colors you want, whatever thread colors you want. This is your crumb block, but we just made this June block of the month in the theme, well, I did, in the theme of American flags, red, white, and blue. So that's why I have this. Why does this look short now? What happened? Something happened. Okay. And let's do this piece. Is this gonna cover? It should. Okay. There we go. All right. And so I cannot see the back foundation on that at all. So when I flip it over, I can definitely tell it, yeah, it's covered. So we're good there. Okay. Now if I wanted to, I could trim after you trim. So like after I trim this, then if I wanted to, I could do a stitch just like this side. So this is kind of flopped open right there. Nothing is holding that in place. Two things you could do. One, you can just stitch like diagonal across there, or you can do a basting stitch all the way around. And that's what I recommend, is to do a basting stitch all the way around, just in case you take a while to accumulate these. Like I've been accumulating these for a few months. So I have mine in this nifty little box. So where I have two different kinds of crumb quilts. I have these shreds, which I've done videos on these shreds. And I also did a red, white, and blue shred just right before this crumb. So I just did this on my own. And then these, you've seen me do these. The grays, the greens. You've seen me do these. So I'm just accumulating these in my little fabric box here, which is, I think, so cute, minions. So maybe I'll do a video on this too. So I'm just accumulating these in my fabric box until this gets full. And then once this gets full, I'll bring this out and we'll make some projects together with it, okay? So anyway, I do digress, don't I? Alright, let's see. Again, I cannot use this because it is too short. So if I go back to my stash, I already used this there. I don't want to use that again. I just used that there. I don't want to use that again. I may have to stick two together. So here's something that you can do. These two fabrics are just about the same width. I can sew these two together to make a longer strip, which I am going to do, unless these are the same size. These look actually more the same size, so let's do that. These look exactly the same width. I don't know how that happened because I did not measure anything, but that is pretty cool. All right, so I'm just gonna sew these two together to make one long strip, and I'm not going to do it the diagonal way. I'm just going to do it a straight line. So put the right sides together and just a straight line, nothing fancy here. And now that I open it up, now I have a longer strip. I'm just going to press that seam down, and now I could put that strip in the center instead of doing that where the strip is now hanging off on the side, or not the strip, the seam. I don't want to get the seam that close to the edge, so we'll put this in the center, maybe right there. That looks great. And then, or maybe, yeah, we'll put that like right there. So, pretty sides down, line up the edge, and then send it through the machine once again, just as we've been doing this whole time. There we go. Super. And then I got really close to that. That might actually open up. So if I test it, yeah, and I pull on it and I tug, you can see that opens up. So I don't want to create a mess. So I'm just going to run that through one more time. And I can have a larger seam allowance here. I have more fabric, so it's not like the first one where it was very thin. These pieces are a little bit thicker. So because there's more fabric showing, then yeah, if I tug on that, no more holes. So I know that fabric is secure on there. So open that up. And let's see if this works. This does work, but I've used that in this corner. What else do I have? Uh-oh, I'm running out. I'll tell you what I have. Over here, I have another denim piece. And this is a little bit longer. I keep saying denim. It's not denim. It is denim-like. Denim-like. What about this? Is this long? This is long. I'll tell you what. You can use this piece even though it's at a diagonal. I can straighten that out. Or I could just leave it as is and then sew on a piece kind of crooked like that. Don't know that I want to do that though. Okay, but I'm going to use it anyway. And then when I open this up, finger press out, then I can, actually, no, I don't want to do that. Press this open. And then maybe I will just send this through. So even though that is that way, I can still kind of create my own line if I wanted to, like that. And even though that's going to be a little bit wonky, that's fine. This is called a scrap block, right? So I'm going to do that. Oh, you can't see. So I'm going to do that and kind of create my own stripe here. I don't always have to follow the edge of the fabric. I can make my own line and create whatever. So if I pretend that's folded and or sewn and I fold it back, you can see that's what's going to be exposed. So if you want a little bit more, which I can do, I'm going to do that. And then you can see that's how that works. All right, let's give it a shot. Okay, but you still want to cover all the raw edges of the fabric. There we go. All right, so open that up, press that out. So this piece has two things going on. It has these spliced together, these two edges spliced together, and then it has this one at a diagonal, at kind of an angle. It's already at an angle. So let's take this over to the cutting board, and I'm going to make it a little bit easier this time. I'm just going to take you right to the swirling mat, right here. Sorry for all the... Yeah, can you see that? Okay. Yep, you can see that. Okay. We don't need this here. We'll get that out of the way. We'll get that out of the way. All these distractions. Okay. So, what can you see right there? Okay. So again, flip it over. So I just pressed it out. Flip it over. And I can tell where my foundation is. And this is 6 inches on the nose that way, and it is 4 inches, pretty close. It's a little bit bigger. All right, so I'm just going to cut. I'm going to get this wire out of the way, and then cut, swirl it around to this way, and then cut. And now this piece, make sure everything's all flat. Line up my 4-inch mark. 1, 2, 3, 4. And trim. Look at that denim. Super tiny from that big old piece, right? And there we go, guys. And there we have it. We made our 2. Where'd the other one go? I lost it already. I lost it already. Okay. So we made our 2 crumb blocks. Where did that go? Here it is. Super. All right. Enjoy your time making your new crumb blocks with the red, white, and blue stars and stripes crumbs. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.